Hello and welcome. Today we have Miss Neha Deo with us, who is a medical student in third year in one of the prestigious institution in the country in Northern America. Welcome, Neha.
Hi, it's nice to be here.
Well, those who have not heard Neha before on our channel, just a brief introduction. Neha is very widely published in last 3 years. During her first 3 years of medical school, she has presented nationally, internationally, and very recently, she has completed her USMLE Step-1 with flying colors. So we are here to congratulate Neha. Congratulations, Neha.
Thank you.
And our viewers would be interested in knowing what materials you use and what suggestions you have for them as they prepare for USMLE Step-1 during their medical school, or those are international colleagues who are doing it during the internship or afterwards.
Sure. So I had 3 points I wanted to talk about. The first one is using first aid. First aid has all the board's relevant material that you need to know for step 1. And so sort of what I did was read each chapter before the end of the block exam so that I was familiar with the board's relevant material. And the really good thing about first aid, again, is that it has all the material that is really relevant for the exam. So it's really high yield. The second thing I used was Anki, A-N-K-I. So Anki uses spaced repetition via cue cards to lock information into your brain, and so you'll have a greater retention over time. There's a group of students called Zonking, and they created a deck that currently has all the step 1 and step 2 material. And what you can do with each block is unlock cards as you go through medical school. And what they did was they took the entire first aid book and made it into cue cards. So it's really helpful to use throughout the year. And the third thing that I really think is important is question banks. Practicing questions really helps you get more familiar with the style of questions that will be in the exam. And there's 2 really good companies right now that have really high yield material for it. There's UWorld, and what UWorld is good for is that they have really clear and comprehensive explanations. And what they also do is they explain why the wrong answers are also incorrect, so you kind of get a sense of how to think through questions. The second company is Amboss. And Amboss is really good because it has a comprehensive knowledge bank. So if you have clarifications or questions about things such as pneumonia, you can search it up in the knowledge bank, and it sort of explains the disease to help you understand more about it.
Fantastic, very high yield. Thank you for sharing that. Our second question for you would be is, you had all this great material. What was your strategy to attack at this material or prepare yourself for the content of the exam for last several months or whenever we started?
I think the most important thing is really starting the material early as first year, because it is a lot of material and it can be really overwhelming if you leave it just to the dedicated period. So sort of what me and my classmates started doing is we were doing the question banks, maybe 10 to 20 questions 6 months out. And then when you come around to dedicated, you will be ready to do 40 question blocks because you're now becoming more familiar with the style of questions and what type of content you need to know to succeed in the exam.
Very good, very good. One important question for almost everybody who have asked us is, if you provide in detail, what did you do for your physical and mental well-being during the preparation and right before the exam?
Yeah, so when I studied for the MCAT, I didn't really do well with making sure that I was taking care of for myself or taking time out of the day to make sure that I was doing the things I enjoyed. So really with step 1, I wanted to make sure that I was making time for friends and food. So once a week, what we would do is we would, maybe on a Saturday or a Sunday, we would all get together, go out to our favorite restaurant or get takeout, and then spend time with each other. And sort of what that let us do was get away from the exams, get away from the testing banks, and kind of just really appreciate the time we had together.
Important to remember there's a life outside the exams as well. One fun tidbit, God help, I hope that nobody has to take the exam again, but if, let's say, if you have to take the exam again, what would you do differently, knowing what you know now?
Yeah, I think really just making sure that you start early. And if you do have any weaknesses, trying to focus on those weaknesses and not letting it kind of go into the dedicated period. Because by the time dedicated comes around, you really want to make sure that you have the knowledge down and really have it locked in. Because dedicated should really be a period where you're reinforcing the material you know, not so much learning the material from scratch.
Did you doing research help you a little bit with your preparation for USMLE Step 1, especially the biostats part or anything else in that regard?
Yeah, I think it did help with calculating things like odds ratio or relative risk. If you are familiar with what sort of calculations or tables you need to make in order to calculate these statistical data, that really helped me.
Fantastic. Good to hear. What would be your take-home message or summary message for our viewers who are in medical school in America, elsewhere, or those who have done with the medical school and now preparing for your Step 1 and Step 2? What would be your take-home message?
Yeah, I think two really important things is making sure that you start early in your studying. It's a lot of material. It's a really high volume amount of material. So you want to make sure, again, that you really have the information down before you go into dedicated. And really making sure that you also have time or making time to do the things that you enjoy. Because half the battle of this exam is mental. And it's really important that you are taking time out of the day for yourself to keep moving forward.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for your time today. We are really appreciative. We wish you all the best in all your research endeavors, as well as your Step 2, which you'll be taking maybe next couple of years. For our viewers, please write in comment section, like, subscribe to the channel, and spread the word, and let us know what other topics you would like to hear on this channel. Thank you.
Thanks.